I can just hear the pitch meeting for some of these figures. Hey, yeah, let's uncap every highlighter we can find and paint the figures with that. Welcome to the Toybox. This is, of course, your host, Andrew M. And today we're going to do a short video essay and analysis on changes to action figures over the years, and why I still find every single action figure I own appealing and one that I am happy to have in my collection. We're going to start today with 1991's G.I. Joe Interrogator. Actually, he's a Cobra, bad guy. As you can see, Hasbro decided that the first thing they wanted to do with Interrogator was get him right. Put him in nice, serious, typical Cobra gray and blue colors. Make him look kind of menacing. And then immediately, a year and a half later, released him in, holy crap, look at me, I'm right here in yellow. No idea why they did that, colors. That is the exact same mold, the exact same tooling. Everything is identical. The only thing that's changed is the paint colors and the fact that the second one didn't come with a gun. I don't know why they did this. I don't understand the appeal, because this specific figure was offered through a mail-away, which means he would not have attracted any eyeballs in stores. I don't get why they did this, but I still like it. I like it because of the semi-absurdity of it. Why would you have anybody in any kind of situation dressed like that? I've seen 90s dance parties that are not as colorful as that, but I still like the character. He's a helicopter pilot. He's incredibly persuasive. They call him Interrogator because he seems to be able to get information out of anybody. It's kind of neat. I'm not going to get into a deep dive of any of these specific pieces that I'm talking about. This is meant to be a side-by-side an explanation as to why I still think they're okay. But I would tell that guy anything just to figure out why he has a bright neon yellow helmet. The next one is Barricade. This is also a G.I. Joe. I'm going to zoom in a bit. He is the same figure, the same mold, the same accessories, the same everything. In fact, everything is identical except for the colors of the figure itself on the underlayer. This is released in the same year. They were two separate releases, two different packagings, you name it, meant to be separate figures, not any kind of variation or factory craziness. I actually got the pink one first when I was in Florida as a younger boy, and the blue one when I was an adult, although a close friend of mine had that one the entire time that I was growing up, and so I was very familiar with the figure in both of these versions. I enjoy the pink one simply because I can imagine somewhere Barricade just decided to say, you know what, screw it, I want them to see me and shoot at me. And that was pretty much his mindset that day. But because I got the brightly colored one first, I think that's a testament to the quality of the actual manufacturer of the item itself. The figure is just as good with articulation, level of detail, complexity and sharpness of the paint job than any other G.I. Joe. And because the colors are bad, I didn't see that as a hindrance, even at the time or now, as to why I can enjoy it. It's all about, what do you enjoy more? Do you enjoy bitching about something, or do you enjoy actually liking what you have and what you've bought? And even though it wasn't something I bought as an adult collector with a more discerning taste, I've kept it all these years. That is authentically a 30-year-old figure because I just enjoy the hell out of it. I'm sorry, he's in 1992. He is not 30 years old, but you get the point. I bought him in 1992, don't regret it, never looked back, have never had to replace him, upgrade him, or do anything to him. He's got a couple of small paint scratches there, but he's still in good shape. We might get into a deep dive on him on a different day, but that's not going to be the focus of today. Moving on, check out how toys have changed in terms of their level of articulation and complexity. And I can think of no better example for that than my two figures, and I only have the two, of Thanos in the 6-inch scale. This, of course, is the villain from the most recent Marvel mega-billion-dollar blockbuster Infinity War, and the one on the left is Thanos from the year 2000 in done by Toybiz, I believe, who had the exclusive Marvel license at that time. And the one on the right is the Walmart exclusive Infinity War Marvel Legends Thanos. Marvel Legends, for those of you who are not in the know, is the standard for 6-inch or large-scale action figures. It is the gold standard. Everyone wants to get there. Not everybody succeeds. But it is beautiful. The paint mask on it is fantastic. Every little silver line and etched detail and the pearlescent, sort of iridescent blue paint is fantastic. You compare that to the older 2000 version, which was the first Thanos figure I ever got. He doesn't have that, but his level of detail, his paint, his lack of accessories, something both figures share, that's about the same. He put the emphasis on the Mad in Mad Titan with that one. Even though he's got less range of movement, even though he's got a little bit less going for him in terms of size, he's not in scale with other figures from his own collection. He's just as tall as the Spider-Man of that day, as an example, which is not right. Watch the Infinity War movie, you can tell that he's meant to be bigger, taller. He's like the size of the Hulk. This second one is that size. He's much larger. He stands about 7.5 to 8 inches tall, actually. To give a better point of comparison, I'm going to put G.I. Joe in front of him. There's Barricade, who's got this huge honking missile launcher that goes several inches up above his head. Still barely even gets to his shoulder. I enjoy it because they both represent the character really well. They look like the character who was drawn in the comics from his introduction. They don't deviate drastically, and they're still fun. I stuck with toys throughout this era, from the new millennium, where everything was coming back down to more muted colors and more realistic representation, through to today's adult collector-oriented market, simply because I enjoy all of it. I enjoy these things as toys. They don't have to be perfect for me to want them or for me to like them, nor do they have to be terrible for me to want to say anything about them. I just enjoy them for who they are. The next thing and last thing to talk about today is the changes in vehicles over the years. Believe it or not, I love both of these equally, and I know that a certain family member of mine has a definite inkling towards one of these versus the other, but I have such fond memories of that bright neon monstrosity motorcycle you cannot imagine. So bright, in fact, that I've overlooked the fact that it's basically made for a gimmick which busted off, and I've actually glued those two rubber wheels in place to keep this motorcycle intact, because I love it. I have fond memories of this thing. I used to take this and roll it around the basement of my house as a child. I had a blast. I love the 1992 G.I. Joe Ninja Lightning. It's a fun, nonsensical, why would a ninja have a motorcycle with a spring-loaded missile sidecar kind of thing. It hits the fun center of my brain. It sparks my imagination, and I love it. On the flip side, the 2008 Ram, or Rapid Action Motorcycle, is equally just fun, full of little play features. It's got these small removable saddlebags that actually open up. You can put little guns in them and stuff. The gun barrel on the Gatling gun on the side actually spins around. It's detachable, has a kickstand. Level of detail is insane. The paint level is phenomenal. As with most G.I. Joe vehicles, a lot of little stickers and decals on there to give fantastic detailing. And it almost feels like something that would exist in the real world, but why would you have a Gatling gun on the side of a motorcycle? I posed you the question, why would you have a missile launcher on the side of a motorcycle? It's really the same idea. A lot of people trash on these 90s bright neon colored things when the original stuff wasn't really terribly a lot more practical. It was just more muted in terms of color scheme, and maybe it almost looked more realistic because you could go to an army base and see vehicles painted in this olive drab green, whereas you'd never see one painted in metallic blue with bright neon yellow wheels and a bright neon yellow and pink sidecar. And so I stuck with it, not because of the colors. I can see the colors. I'm not colorblind, but because I enjoy the toys for what they are, for how they're made, for the quality of their presentation, and how they stand over the test of time. I would not have glued that Ninja Lightning back together if I thought it was just going to fall apart again in a week. That's been glued together since 1995, and it has never fallen apart. And yes, it has playtime since that date. Whereas the RAM, to be quite blunt, I don't think would survive that long. So just because things look atrocious doesn't mean they're bad from a toy collector's standpoint. And it depends on what you want to do with your collection. Do you just want to put it on a shelf and forget you ever had it? Do you want to complain about it? Or do you want to enjoy it? So that's my little video essay on the secret of enjoyment. Ignore the colors. Ignore the fact that maybe it has one less moving part than that other one who just looks awesome. Enjoy it for what it is. Do it because you like it, because it activates the happy center of your brain and your heart. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, I'm Andrew M., and if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe. And if there's anything you'd like to have me do a more in-depth, deep-down review of, don't be afraid to share in the comments. Until next time, have fun out there in Toyland, and I'll see you next time.